Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Some cheeky individual, or maybe it was two cheeky individuals, in Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, came up with the idea of sitting their two heavyweight prospects next to each other. Bear in mind, they're not fighting each other. Of course, I'm talking about Moses Itauma and Johnny Fisher. Itauma's promoted by Frank Warren, and Fisher is promoted by Eddie Hearn. And their names have been linked over the past year or so, with fans calling for a fight between them. I've gone on record many times as saying, I don't want to see that fight right now. In fact, I don't know whether I'll ever want to see that fight. But certainly for the moment, as far as I'm concerned, that's a mismatch. Itauma is leagues and leagues above Johnny Fisher. And if you've ever heard either of them interviewed about a potential fight against the other, Itauma is clearly more keen on it than Johnny Fisher is. Now, interestingly, when they were sat together and it did look a bit awkward, Johnny Fisher revealed that he's actually sparred Moses Itauma in the past. I can't imagine those sparring sessions went very well for Johnny Fisher. After the press conference, in an interview with the punditry team, they asked Itauma about the Johnny Fisher fight again, and Itauma was very frank. He basically said, I don't think Johnny Fisher is anywhere near my level, but if they want to make the fight now, I'll take the fight now. Go watch it. He stood right there with Johnny Nelson and the rest of them. And he's basically like, a Johnny Fisher fight, that's some joke business. I'd smoke this guy easy. Not in those exact words, but that's the general gist of what he says. And I can only agree. If Johnny Fisher is to ever even be competitive with Moses Itauma, he needs a lot more seasoning. A lot more seasoning. I want to say a couple of years, maybe. At least 18 months before you think about putting him anywhere near Moses Itauma. I think Fisher knows that, to be fair, and his team certainly know that. So all the fans calling for that fight, don't hold your breath. I mean, just look at who Itauma's being matched with compared to who Johnny Fisher's being matched with. Itauma's only 19 years of age, 10-0. Fisher is 25 years of age, 12-0. Yet Itauma is fighting Dempsey McKean, a guy who just lasted to the 12th round against Filip Hrgović in a competitive fight, whereas Johnny Fisher is fighting Dave Allen. Night and day, chalk and cheese. They're moving Itauma a lot faster because they believe, as in his handlers, that he's a lot better than someone like a Johnny Fisher. And this is no dig at Johnny Fisher. At the end of the day, he didn't have much of an amateur career. Very different to Itauma, who's been boxing since he was like 9 years old. Johnny Fisher, I think, only picked up boxing in university. So there's no shame in Johnny Fisher being moved a lot more slowly than Moses Itauma. The only point I really want to get across is that fans calling for this fight to happen sometime in the near future, in my view, are not being realistic. You're going to have to wait a few years for that one. And who knows, by then, maybe Johnny Fisher will have improved enough to actually make it competitive, to give himself a realistic chance of winning. Now, if you disagree and you think the fight should happen right now, let's say in early 2025, put your argument forward in the comments. I'll be interested to read it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Don't forget to like this video, share it, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.